Hi, welcome back to another episode of Henry Schradieck's The School of Violin Techniques. So this episode will be lesson 3. For this lesson, all the exercises are on 2 strings. And I don't know if you notice, this lesson is immediately at some difficulties than the first 2 lessons. You have to immediately focus on more things. So let me first introduce you how this video will structure, and you can use the progress bar to jump to wherever you want to study. So I will separate this video into 2 sections. The first section will be tutorial. I will give you all the key points and tips for practicing this lesson. And the second section will be my demonstration in 3 tempos. Slow tempo is quarter note equals to 45, medium tempo is quarter notes equals to 65, and the fast tempo is quarter note equals to 80. With the bowing that I rearranged, that is more friendly for all levels learners. So if you check the score, there are big slurs over like 2 measures, right? So this is not really beginner friendly. I understand that, so I rearrange the bowing for you for different tempo. For the slow tempo, you can practice 2 groups of 16th notes in 1 bow. So in this slow tempo, you can really use your bow without worrying you're running out of the bow. For the medium tempo, we use slur for 1 measure. And for the fast tempo, we follow the original bowings on the score, which is slur over 2 measures. If you still haven't get it, check section 2 of my demonstration, that is more clear. Okay, now let's dive into the key points of this lesson. Okay, so for the key points, I think there are 3 things that is very important, including very important tips for small hands violinists. So the first point is, since we're playing these exercises on 2 strings now, so there's string crossing involved. You need to think both of your hands, not only one hand. So it's a matter of coordination and timing. Make sure you prepare your right arm before you hit another string, instead of like just jumping to have this kind of height difference. Let me show you on the violin. If we want to play D string to A string, if you want to have this kind of very smooth effect, be sure when you're going to hit the A string, your right arm, upper arm is already starting to lower to the A string level. Like this. So now I'm playing the D string, but I'm starting to lower my upper arm. And when I hit the A string, it will be very seamless. If you don't do that, which is you play on the D string level, now it's time to shift to A string and you do that. Okay, did you hear that? It will have the big gap. Seems like the angle is more like a square instead of like an arch, right? So that is the first thing you need to pay attention to whenever there's string crossing, no matter it's down bow or up bow. So the second point is about the open string fingering. So this lesson, it didn't write which finger, it wrote sometimes, but not always, to show you for the open string, you use 4th finger or the open string. So here is my opinion. If you practice using the 4th finger, actually it's easier. So you can practice this lesson in 2 ways. One is using all the open strings with 4th finger, unless it's marked open string. The second way is to use all the open string notes with open string. That is way harder. So let me show you with number 5, that line, as an example. If you use 4th finger, most of the notes are on the same string, so it's way easier. Now if you use everything on open string, it looks like this. You see how many times I have to do the string crossing? So this is way harder. What I suggest to you is, if you're a beginner, starting with fourth finger, but starting to try the open strings. Now is the third point. I personally feel this is very, very important, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it, which is small hands fingerings. Especially for small hands violinists, we have to consider the fingerings very wisely. And you know what? I feel sometimes you have to really view those fingerings on the score critically. See if it's worked for you. A lot of people, especially the beginners, you will just follow whatever is written on the scores. It might not adjust to your hand's condition. So for the fingering wise, I also have two options for you. One is like follow whatever is written on the score. It has a lot of fourth finger extensions, but if you treat this piece as like a musical piece, I would not choose that as the fingerings. So I will use some fingerings that suit for small hands violinist. And I will put the score with the small hands fingerings on the description below so you can download it. And when I demonstrate, I will use the small hands fingerings. And just one more thing, personally I will use a marking that I feel I should tell you before, because you will see that I mark on the score, which is arrow marking. Let me explain to you the arrow's meaning. Use the example of number 7. So I will put an arrow for D to F sharp with the fourth finger, and I mark that the arrow means not only extension, but your thumb have to actually move almost to the second position. Okay, let me show you. So this is what big hands, or like you choose to just reaching out for the fourth finger, look like. It's like you see, my thumb didn't really move, and I just need to adjust my elbow to reach out for that, but I still feel a lot of strength from my pinky. For the small hands fingerings with that arrow, that actually means before you reach out to the pinky, your thumb actually move to the second position a little bit. I feel way less strength on my pinkies. So actually you have to really use your thumb now. Another example is right after there's an arrow down from the E to the B. So here's what it looks like. Now I play the E with my third finger. Now I reach back to the first finger. So my thumb also moved back to the first position. So okay, so play together, you will look like this. So in this way, we actually use more thumb, but add more accuracy. It seems like you work more, but in this way, you're more comfortable, so I feel it's more efficient. Feel free to try and comment below to let me know if this works for you. Okay, now it's the second part. I will demonstrate this lesson in 3 tempos: slow, medium, and fast, with rearranged bowing and the small hands fingerings. Ready? Grab your violin and practice with me. Now a slow tempo with quarter notes equals to 45. Now let's try medium tempo with quarter notes equals to 65 with a slur over one measure. Now it's a fast tempo 80. Challenge yourself. And this one we will follow the original bowings, which is a slur over two measures. Okay, how you feel? That is all. No matter what tempo you chose, if you followed to practice the whole thing, I'm so proud of you. Have a good rest, that is very important. And if you have any questions or feedback, please comment below to let me know. I will see you the next one.